hopeless, so it seems. Eyes closed, candles open wide to embrace your dreams. Sometimes you gotta take a loss just to get the win, like lots of sin. Popping it like oxygen when boxes win. Focus on the mental, never lose like smooth instrumental. Better choose on the move and a pencil. Choose what I give to, never lose smooth on the move, but it's simple. Never give up and we running it maybe. We just keep winning, we conquering daily. Envision that pay me is never.
I'm not even on the screen. Come after me, copyright police. We're trying the intro. We're gonna eventually get an intro that does not get hit by the copyright police. So let's see if this is the week, if that was the one. Who knows? If it changes again, you know what happened. Ignore the mayhem in the background as I bring in the one and the only Bud Copeland joining me here for Divots and Pivots because it's Tuesday night. And there's a lot going on, as always, and we're here to cover it for you here. Bud, how are you this evening?
I have a reason for being tardy.
Oh, I don't need a reason for being tardy. It's all good.
Would you let me go forward with my little spiel?
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Good to see you, by the way.
It's good to see you too.
Let's start with this. All right.
There you go.
Nice to see the AT. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen with this New York Golf Club if they don't figure this whole thing out pretty soon here. No, I got to lead off with first and foremost, shout out Acorn Hills and our boy Nate. The reason I was late was, pardon me, a little parched.
Go for it.
I was late because I placed an order last week. I was sitting there, new year, new gear.
Of course.
And like how I unmute it and then I smack my lips right there. Thanks.
I was also like your ginger but not ginger touch of the mic there. You were like you wanted to be gingerly, but then you were still like
I couldn't. I was trying like a middle schooler for the first time. I was trying to. You have to be watching on YouTube to understand the joke.
Yeah.
I was trying to unmute subtly, but subtle as a chainsaw. Anyway, so I placed an order last week. Yes. And they've got some great new shit on there. So go over to acornhillsco.com, clothing company. If you don't know about them, great stuff. Started by our boy Nate Wren. Shout out Mount Aloysius. Is it Mount Aloysius? I don't know if that
sounds right. It
sounds right. The Mounties. Shout out Mounties. But this young man decided he wanted to start a clothing line and not just, no disrespect to anybody else out there doing in the t-shirt game, but not just go to like custom shirts and get a logo and throw it on there. He did his research, he dug deep, and he found the manufacturers or some of our favorite brands. Titleist, FootJoy, I guess it's the same company. And he started sourcing his stuff. So when you get an Acorn Hills order, you look at the tag, it says, it's Acorn Hills, printed by Acorn Hills, it's his line, everything. But that tag is also going to be made out of seed paper, the hang tag that comes on it. Because his whole thing was like, can't we do this in a way that doesn't clutter it all up? And it's beautiful. And, you can do stuff with it. So you can actually plant those tags. It's wildflowers. I got an order that came in and it was heavy. He tossed in a couple extra items. He said, thanks for being a loyal customer. So shout out to our boy Nate. Go on over to acornhillsco.com anytime. Use the promo code TBFY. That's at this buds for you. TBFY 15 for 15% off.
Is this one of the sweatshirts you're wearing right here?
This is it. This is the, let's see.
Nice. I like the color.
I did. This is a seafoam green lightweight hoodie. And quick note about this. Another thing for, it's not an infomercial for Nate, but this is honestly why I was late. He saw the order. We've been back and forth before. I've got an order history with the company. And he goes, hey, I just wanted to let you know that thing you ordered, other products that you have ordered in that size, you ordered a size up. Did you factor that in? And then he goes, did you take the sizing guide? And
he's, you know what, you're right though, because he's done that with me too before, where he'll shoot a text off and be like, hey, just so you know, that one tends to run smaller or bigger. Like that's so that's some good effort right there.
All right. So if you're joining us late, that's good, because I was late because I was unboxing the hats and shirts and the Sasquatch tee and everything like that. Shout out Acorn Hills one last time. New year, new gear. Go get you something.
Definitely not one last time. We will be shouting out many more times.
I meant for the show. Okay. It's fine.
I was gonna say one last time.
All right, so here we are once again, Divots and Pivots, round whatever we are. I think this is the third. What are we in, the third week of January?
Third week.
Third week of January, or third episode. Third round of TGL. I like what I'm seeing so far. I like, and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it a little bit later, but let's start off with any other news floating around out there. Blades Brown. We talked about him last week. 17 years old. Did he make the cut? I've not been paying attention. I've been watching football.
I got confused because I think I texted you at one point saying that he did make the cut. I completely forgot it was a 3-round cut event. So I texted you after
Duh, doesn't everybody
Friday.
know that? I forgot
I
to.
texted you after Friday. I was like, he made the cut. He had a killer round because he rattled off like 8 straight birdies or
I
something
saw
silly
that
like
round
that.
where he bounced back. He
Um,
had 31 on the front or something like that.
yeah, and what was most impressive about him for me this weekend was how he would bounce back. Because in his first round, I think he went like par, double bogey, and then he ran off 3 straight birdies to get himself back to even. And that just shows some poise from a 17-year-old. Like that kind of poise, you can't be taught that. That's just natural, homegrown, mental talent right there. And that's something that I think is going to be real good for him going forward as he gets forward with his career. But I liked what I saw of him. I know he kind of collapsed down the stretch in the third round to end up missing the cut. I believe the cut was at 9 under, and I want to say he finished 6 under. Which is a shame because most of the day he was sitting right at like 10 and 11 under. So I thought he was going to make it. It didn't work out in the end, but I think overall it was still a win for the kid for the weekend.
Oh, for sure. Professional debut, all the attention, yada, yada, yada. He's been here before. I think for a guy like him, you heard some of his reasoning where it was like, I could either go to college and get an education, or I can go ahead and just get an on-the-job education in what I know I'm going to go pro at. And
Right.
and you're seeing this elsewhere, man. You talk to these young kids. Not every single one of them just checks the box of that's right. I'm going to college. I'm going to go to university or whatever. Some of them are like, I'm just going to go get a job. Maybe I want to do this. Maybe I want to be a podcaster, or I want to be in sports media or something like that. It's more beneficial for me to go work at a radio station or a podcast station or just a content creation studio and learn that side of the business. Blah, blah.
Right.
So there's an element to that because kids going back to be plumbers and electricians and some of the more tangible trades because it's better for them to between the ages of like 18 and 22 learn everything they can on the front line. And then if you need the business, I mean, some of them will go rip off like 2 years of an associates in business or whatever it is just to get them comfortable enough to go start a business. And some of them just do it and they have a good mentor. I think we've lost the value of mentorship these days.
It's so true though. It's connections in general. Like you make the right connections. Like people will help you through life. You're a good person. You talk to people now. You make connections. Like you're gonna be okay. Did you see the other rookie scenario from this weekend? It's in a negative way here. Poor William Mao.
No.
Did you see his debacle on?
No.
I forget which hole.
Somebody text me that.
I forget what hole it was, but he shot a 13 on like I said, I can't remember the hole, but it was very relatable. I know I've been there. He just kept launching bunker shot after bunker shot from one side of the green to the other bunker on the other side.
I did finally catch this.
Yeah, and it just kept rolling off. Then he finally got it onto the green, and he putted it off the green. Like it was somewhere we've all been.
Putting it off the green is what hurts.
Yeah, because that's just that's.
I mean, you've already tripped, you've already fallen down, you skinned your knee, you lost your time, and then somebody comes over right behind you, and just kicks you in the dick. I mean, they meant to. They saw you down, and they were like, here's one for you.
Right.
So actually, who ended up winning? Sepp Straka. Go Dogs.
Yeah, Sepp Straka. Yep.
And then. I'm not gonna name names because A, they'll never hear about it, and B, it's just bad karma. But I saw some chirping online, and it got me thinking bigger picture. We got TGL going on here,
right?
And I don't want to go off on a rant or anything, but the sheer volume of posts that I see trying to do nothing but highlight negatives and what has gone wrong, and I understand that there's this balance that you have to strike between what people want to click and talk about and what do you expect when you look on X? It's not a place for conversation and sharing news. It's a place for people to like shock each other or say, hey, what's your opinion about this? And really it's like really they're just saying, hey, piranhas, here's a T-bone, go after it. And I'm not finding fault in any of this. I'm just saying that there's ways to channel the energy in a different light. Now what I'm getting at is this guy that really kind of got my goat was making the comparison that like the NFL was able to play 2 complete football games in the same amount of time it took for one group to play a round of golf in a professional golf tournament. This is shut up.
Yeah, who's been complaining about that?
I'm
No one
not.
complains about that.
Everybody fucking complains about the pace of play. That's actually
Well,
one of
yeah,
the
but
things that's probably
well,
going to get cleaned up. But that
I was saying, I feel like from the professional standpoint, they complain more about the coverage of the pace of play than the pace of play itself. You know what I mean?
no, I think they actually all do hate it. But my point was, I think when every time you toss something out there like that, it takes a couple of positives to outweigh it. So Sepp Straka, Georgia Bulldog, the most important detail in this story, goes 25 under to win the Amex. The Amex isn't necessarily an elevated event, of course, but it's a familiar enough event to be. This is not a John Deere. It's not a John Deere. I throw a little bit of love to the Amex, but it's not a John Deere. But speaking of other news in the PGA Tour world, the beloved Genesis and Riviera, they're moving it to Torrey Pines. We're going to get 2 takes at Torrey. It's almost like a U.S. Open year. It looks like it's going to be really close. What are they in the schedule? We're not back to back, are we? Are we that close to the Genesis?
No, we got Pebble in between. So we got because we got Farmers this week, Pebble next, and then the Genesis after that.
No,
I'm sorry, Waste Management after that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm a little off of the schedule.
Little run coming up. So they're moving it
after Waste Management. Yeah.
Thoughts on that? There was conversations about wanting it to go elsewhere. How do you feel about this move?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was the right move to make. I think it just needed to be done. I like that they made it. I like that they made it this far in advance. Now, I will say with the caveat, it doesn't feel right to not have an event at Riviera now this year. Like that part feels wrong from a golfer standpoint. But I think with the temperature of what's going on out there, that I think it was the right move. But I know I was trying to skirt past that. I used that word, but it came out. I think keeping it in California though is also key here. I think that's what made this move make the most sense, because I think they're going to try to do as much as they can to tie it in, relief funds and all this stuff to make it all kind of blend together so that it's not all lost. Like, it's still going to hopefully feel like the Genesis typically does. You booed me though.
Because it's not exactly a hot take. See what I did there? No, you're right. It was the prudent, responsible thing to do. We're already going to be set up for the tournament. It's familiar. We know we can handle it. Snap the fingers and it happens.
Yeah.
What I'm upset about is the missed opportunity, though. There were. Bear with me on this one.
I'm bearing.
We're going to make a sacrifice one way or another. And if I think we're going to sacrifice anything, we should sacrifice the live audience, the fans on the ground. And for this unique one-off, you take a course. So we did this during COVID when all of a sudden for charity, it was the first one of those things. They went down to Seminole. And if you're just a casual golf fan, you're like, what the fuck, Seminole? In the golf world, Seminole is one of those exclusive elite private clubs down in Florida that it became famous because that's where Ben Hogan would go to prepare for the Masters. That's where he would go to, tune up his game and get used to the greens for the Masters. And that's how it kind of got its name. It's a beautiful fucking course right on the water. And so they opened it up and they brought in the cameras because it's like, well, yeah, we don't use this tournament for US Opens and big events because we don't want the crowds. We don't want that kind of crap. But the exposure and, they don't need the exposure. They don't need the fame, but for the greater good of the game, I wanted this thing out at Cypress Point. And I wanted drones out over the Pacific. I wanted as much technology to recreate the fan experience for us as possible. I think get the content creators out there, the content council out there the week before to hype it up and and wait for it and make the whole fucking thing a telethon for fire rescue and all that kind of shit. The whole thing becomes a week-long telethon to raise money. And, in Cypress Point being, comes down from on high, this Alistair McKenzie oh, dude. It really is one of those courses that we East Coast bias with Shinnecock and, in Newport Country Club and, American National Golf Links, sorry. this would have been an opportunity to really and I think something like this will come one day, because even Augusta, the most exclusive of clubs. Now we're not getting it at Pine Valley anytime soon. And I'm sure there's 20, 30, 40 other of these exclusive ultra whatever golf clubs. But Cypress Point, that would have been dope to me. Get the technology together, make it a fundraiser, put everything behind it. And then it just makes that kind of a little more. Doesn't mean they can't recreate that down at Torrey with the fans live.
Sure.
And let's turn this in. But that's my hot take.
I will be curious to see how the broadcast handles like the spinning in the relief fund aspect of it, because it's been mentioned. It's not something we're saying we hope they do. It's basically been said they're going to do it in some way. So I'm curious to see what way that is. That was a good. I don't mind that suggestion at all. It sounds fun. Cypress Point. It does sound like it makes a lot of sense. So I think this was just the easy, quick solution for sure.
Well, yeah, if this was Quantum Leap, that's what I would have gone back and changed. Now, I got to say, we would definitely be doing a disservice if we did not at least give a little bit of time to live. They did actually make some sort of news. I don't know how deep we're going to go into it, but
we'll give them just a little bit of time with our newest segment here. Speaking of pace of play, it's time for Ready Golf, our new segment here on Divots and Pivots. We're going to throw up 40-second timer. We're going to hand the 40 seconds over to Liv this time, and then we're going to shut up about it and not get carried away and lose the show to Liv talk, because we know we can do that. We've done it in the past, but quite frankly, both of us are sick of saying the same things over and over. So Bud's going to throw down some Liv news here, and I'm going to start the timer for you when you're ready here in just a second.
Oh, good. That wasn't my time. We were just going through. So Live Golf starting this February, Fox Sports to air live coverage of Live Golf League's 14 tournament global schedule with events throughout the U.S., Asia, Australia, Europe, and Latin America. Let me tell you why this does not make 2 bits of a difference to anything that has happened. First of all, the money from the PIF is eventually going to go to the PGA Tour Enterprises, and Yasser's going to have his seat at the table, and everything's going to go forward there. Secondly, you still don't have a decent product that is drawing eyeballs in the first place. So if eyeballs aren't coming to one device, they're not going to magically switch to another. And third, your product still sucks.
That's not from a production set. Could you hear the buzzer?
No, but that's fine. I got it off my chest.
Okay,
let's move on.
Whatever. We got it there. I didn't know if the buzzer sound was going to come through or not. So whatever. Now I can't get this damn timer off my screen.
Since we're in transition mode, I want to pivot back to something else. Did you watch any of the national championship game last night?
Oh, not only did I watch some of it, I watched the entire thing because I knew I was actually jumping on with the Millie Goats to recap it last night. So went over there, jumped on to recap the game. Ultimately,
damn, we finally.
I was really, obviously, like most people, I think I was super excited about that first drive. That was fun to watch. Gave me a glimmer of hope that Notre Dame might be able to do something. And then, just like everyone expected, Ohio State just looked dominant for most of the game, and the rest of the game was kind of boring until the last 10 minutes. And then Ohio State once again stepped back in and said, "Nah, we're done playing with our food."
God, I hate that they won. I wanted, although I like keeping Ryan Day around because he looks like Lewis Litt from the show Suits. You can't unsee it once you see it.
You know what? Yeah,
it's kind of it's kind of like
now I can't unpick. I can see him like a freaking mud now.
Like crunches up sometimes. The way that can look, you got lit up. Ohio State fans are, I'd say, the single most obnoxious group of sports individuals. The Yankee fans give them a run, but I have so much respect for the Yankees and that they have at least New York City behind them.
Sure.
I mean, Columbus is college towns are fun in general, but it's not exactly anything else. Besides, they didn't beat Michigan, so all's right in the world anyway.
That was the championship, right?
As El Prez pointed out, I think he said something like nobody on that team has ever beaten Michigan, so it's fine with him that they can have this natty.
True.
And really what I'm curious about is what are we going to do moving forward with college football? Is this turning into there's only going to be so many schools that can have the firepower to keep up once this turns into a 30 to 40 school network of players. And so I think
Right.
that's what we're looking at anyways, is we're just going to get there. I think in the next 5 years, this whole thing's going to get reorganized to probably, like I said, like 48 maybe schools with like 3 to 5 team relegation every year. And I think that's about
That
as big as it.
sounds like a mess. It
What
sounds like a mess.
it's
I mean, it's a mess now,
trimming
but
it's trimming the fat though, you know,
I
no
know.
disrespect to a lot of those D1 programs, those FBF programs or FBS programs, but the direction we're going, they're not all going to be able to structure themselves to compete and keep up and have a general manager
Yeah,
and a war
they
chest.
can't all afford NILs.
And you know, good luck with the whole salary cap system, you know, trying to implement that in college football. I mean, even though
Yeah.
they have it, you know, it works in the NFL, how really are
Yeah.
you going to cap this fucking thing?
Yeah, and in college, they for years before the NIL, they were skirting around the rules when it came to throwing money around anyway. So guess what? They're just going to go back to doing that stuff along the side with the NIL as well. They're not cap's going to mean nothing in college.
Well, and also it's going to be interesting to see does it matter where the money comes from? What I mean by that is Travis Hunter at Colorado. I think we've mentioned this before. I saw something somewhere where like he personally paid for a couple of his buddies' NIL deals.
Right.
And it took me a second to wrap my head around that of like, so does that mean that he is then like, does he like have like an LLC or something? Like somebody set up a company for him and, you know,
That is interesting. This whole business side of it, was something like that happens.
yeah. Or is he just
Or
like
if it comes
cutting
from a
them
private
checks?
booster or something like.
Right? Is he just leaving stacks of cash in his buddy's lockers at the end of the day? In which case, are we back to square one anyway, where we're going to just
like I
pay
said,
one or two?
That's all we're just going to end up doing is going back to sneaking around with it.
God,
I don't know. That's why it's ultimately why like I just can't. I already do so much with golf and NFL. I can't fathom putting the type of effort in to be able to follow all of that into college football as well. It's too muddy for me. I need my mind to have some blank spaces.
It is nice that it's out in the open. I mean, it almost parallels the legalization of marijuana, where it happened for so long, and everybody was, you know, okay, whatever. Yeah, no, we don't even to the point where I gotta. Damn, this is an old story that I got to find out, and we're gonna go ahead and file this under urban legend until I can find confirmation of this. You know, legitimately police stations who confiscate weed and then just turn around and flip it and sell it. I gotta remember if I'm just recreating the movie Super Troopers with a different ending in my brain, or if I legitimately read this. And that's the problem with the internet age, and especially guys our age, where we grew up in an era of having these genuine memories that now we're like questioning everything we remember, because you'll scroll on TikTok, see one video about the Mandela effect or the Mandela effect or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh, it messes with you.
Intern might be coming down to say hi, but that's kind of where I've been lately. And I will say, you know, for anybody out there who's going, what the fuck happened to our golf guy, like the insider, the one who used to come with just ounces of content around these tournaments and their host, he's still in there. He's still in there. Boudreaux had to take a little detour to handle some personal family business. You'll all get there someday if you're blessed. There's only one burden that we're all kind of required to carry out on this earth. And so far, knock on wood, I've already done mine, and that's that. But not to make it any sadder, I was just curious. I'm so sad now. It hit me like a ton of bricks this afternoon. I don't really have much football left to look forward to, because I don't give a shit about the teams that are left in the playoffs. I mean, before we take our break in a couple minutes, then we'll front load it right here. What do you like the rest of the way with the NFL playoffs? How do you see this whole thing shaking out?
Anybody but the Chiefs. It's that simple. Which I'm so torn, because I hate the fact that I have to cheer for the Bills this weekend. Like, that annoys me as a Patriots fan, having to cheer for the Bills this weekend, but I have to cheer for the Bills this weekend. And then on the NFC side, I'm just cheering for the underdogs, the Commanders, because why not? Jaden Daniels is just fun to watch. He's so composed out there. That's just Austin Eckler having like this little rebirth as a number 2 guy. Like, there's some good storylines in that Washington team. So I'm cheering for that. So yeah, I guess I'm cheering for Bills Commanders just from all my own personal feelings.
I could see that. I want that. It's a throwback. It's an old school. I want that, and I want the Commanders to win. Just because I think Buffalo needs to. I mean, they're getting a little big for their britches here. You know, a couple of division titles, maybe an MVP here or there. You've got a franchise like once in a generation quarterback, and all of a sudden, you think you get a Super Bowl. Well, I got another thing coming for you.
Well, did you see the stat that said the last time there was a AFC Conference Championship game that didn't include Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady was 2011?
I love that.
That's 14 freaking years. Well, this would be the 14th year if the Chiefs lose Sunday. Or if the Chiefs win Sunday, then we continue the streak 14 straight years where it's either Mahomes or Brady for the AFC Championship.
Not only do I want it to be Buffalo and Washington, I think that's actually what's going to end up happening.
I can see it.
I mean, Washington being kind of that team of destiny now that they took down the Lions. And also that's where actually I was born in Fairfax, Virginia, which is right outside. I mean, literally across the bridge from Washington D.C. And I was born in '82. They won it in '83. So growing up as a kid, there used to be a little bit. Hey, look at that! Next Monday, we got TGL on Monday.
Oh, it's gonna be Monday next week.
It looks like it's Monday. I think there might. Damn, yeah, TGL stepping in.
You know what is the?
Yeah, because NFL season's over.
Yeah, so I want you know what is next,
and they weren't going to go head to head with the national title game.
Is next Tuesday night? Maybe is that the ESPN Honors Night? I wonder,
dude.
They might run that on that Tuesday night because that would be between the conference. That would be right after the conference championship game. So yeah.
Oh, like NFL Honors Awards show or something?
Yeah, the NFL Honors. Yeah.
Oh, when you said ESPN Honors, I was like, we're still watching ESPN.
I said ESPN. Listen, I meant NFL.
I tune in for the Jimmy V story and I cry, and then I just go about my business.
Oh no, the NFL Honors is Thursday, February 6th. I don't know why we're going on Monday next. Something's going to be going on
because
Tuesday.
Because they have a contract with ESPN. ESPN is a sports company, but it's a sports content company, and all of a sudden Monday night's open again. That's why. I mean, it's because we had Monday Night Football until last week. God, I sound so congested because I am. But that's why they're going all in on this. And I think after seeing the first couple of weeks, the numbers are still hovering or consistent. We had well, I think this is going to be a telling week because there was the opening week, then we had the Tiger week, and now we have just a couple of teams, guys.
Yeah, there's a couple of teams.
I think one of the compelling storylines that I saw is Patrick Cantlay on a shot clock. And what's going to be fun is once we get a few weeks in, once everybody's team's got a couple rounds under their belt, maybe the betting opens up a little bit and you're able to.
I'm curious to see that too.
I mean, I'm even talking about like hole by hole, like in real time betting.
Right.
I think that would.
So it does happen pretty fast. It would be tough to do, but I would love that. Sure. I would love that. And just to update everyone on the TGL right now tonight, between the New York and Atlanta drive here, Atlanta is now up 4-0. They were 2-0 heading into the singles, and so far the Atlanta drive have won the first two holes. So the New York Golf Club is starting to look a little bit like we saw 2 weeks ago, unfortunately. It just is what it is, I guess. There might just be some guys who can't really put this together like others can, because they are still playing off turf. They're still going into a simulated screen that, from the looks of it, actually a lot of guys are kind of struggling with the distances on. I don't know if they're probably tweaking the computers of it, and I think some guys are struggling with that because even tonight we were seeing a ton of shots go long. And they just kept saying, "Oh, it's jumping off me,"
Once again, it could have something. It could have something to do with, whatever they're dialing in on. I mean, whatever their quad 4 and their, or if they're using, again, this full swing technology that Tiger's come out with, and now all of a sudden they're doing TV commercials, which, kind of shook me up. I'm used to seeing the Mevo Plus with Bubba and Bryson, and now all of a sudden here comes full swing. But it's going to be interesting to see what these numbers look like again when we just have 6 guys who aren't Tiger Woods, or it's not the opening night. You don't have Rory McIlroy out there.
So we haven't seen that yet. So yeah, you're right. Tonight, that first night, although we do get Justin Thomas tonight, which everyone was kind of excited for the mic'd up part with him. So there was that kind of draw tonight. I feel like that was the main draw for this grouping tonight.
All right, but that's enough about tonight. Let's take a break. Let's hear from our friends, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what's going to happen in the future with TGL and the PGA and anything else acronym.
Fantasy Sports Corp and Underdog Fantasy have teamed up to start your fantasy season off in the win column with Best Ball. What is Best Ball? It's quite simply the easiest way to win. No team management, no trades, no waivers. It's their biggest contest ever and it has only gotten bigger. You simply have to sit and win. You don't even have to set your lineup. Always get your best score every week. Just enter a contest, draft your team, and Underdog will do the rest. What could make this even better? How about free money, up to $100 using our exclusive promo code? Go online now and use the promo code DIVPIV to double your deposit up to $100. You tell them Gingerbread sent you. Good girl.
Speaking of the future TGL, I just had this thought. I'm going to quickly throw it out there because I don't know why this thought just jumped to my head, but I'm sure you'll have thoughts on it. I just had the idea that maybe possibly, especially once we get, if they do end up expanding to more stadium locations, does one end up becoming like the home of the U.S. Ryder Cup team? Like, do they use it as a training facility? Like, is that something they try to throw out there as like a marketing for that one location? Why not? They're throwing everything into a business here. So I don't know. I don't know why that jumped to my head. And it's silly. It has no weight on anything at all. But I could see it being something small that gets added at some point, just on a sign somewhere.
If I were a betting guy, which I would say you're going to see promos for this year's Ryder Cup here. As a matter of fact, I think we might already have seen just the captains stop by when they had
there tonight.
There you go.
Yeah,
so
they showed up in the crowd earlier. 1,000
million bajillion %, they're going to have something. Hell, I wouldn't even be shocked if they do something where it's like it's a net. This Ryder Cup is going to be based in New York City, and after coming on the heels of Rome, where Rome had this class, it was back out in the countryside. There was this classic look to it. And it harkened back to the Gladiator and all that kind of shit. New York is not old. And I think what we might see is like some, just maybe some different, because they did this thing at Versailles when they were in Paris. They always do some pretty cool shit the week leading up. I could see them flying. I could see them loading these guys up and in real time saying, day one, we're going to fly everybody down to TGL and we're going to have a little fun. And you guys are going to do a little mini match day of, or we'll do an intra squad where they pair a rider, like they pair opposites, there's one from one team, one from the other, two man. Like if I'm director of content, if I'm running this shit, that is done. And I say, hey, private jet people, who wants their name slapped on this, or who wants to just foot the bill to charter it, and get her done, because the flight from New York down to South Florida is a couple hours. And
it's not too bad.
And the amount of off course activity that gets done, I don't know, figure it out. Maybe charter a big ass plane and then bring some podcasters on there and just shoot content the whole time and do interviews and, do that where you just have, and just call it team day, front of the plane, back of the plane, make them, because these guys are going to get paid now. Remember, everybody's getting a check. So now there's going to be a little bit more expected. This is not for people who think that, like, maybe this is righting a previous wrong. They were never paid before and they should always be paid. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, not everything has to be tied to the past. We can just move forward with new ideas, people.
Well, my point being is, now that they're getting paid, we're going to move forward with some new ideas, and you're not exactly going to get to say no to these. If we're smart about it. But then again, we're already getting ahead of the agenda, which I'm fine with. But this intersection of TGL and even the Ryder Cup, I go back to the Ryder Cup being where it is at the end of the season. And I know we were going to talk about the season, and we'll get into the schedule, maybe, I guess, a little bit, the majors and whatnot. But with the gap between the Ryder Cup and the end of the season, that's what concerns me the most, because I think that's what did us in back in Rome, is we sat dormant for a month because the PGA Tour they finally have understood that we should wrap things up before the NFL season gets going. So yeah, once again, Tour Championship, August 24th is when it wraps up. The Ryder Cup is a month away in September. In between, there is one PGA Tour event, which 0 of these players will play in. And so that's where I'm saying is, what are we doing for a month? And if we're going to pay these guys, is anybody out there going, do you actually want to win? Do we want to do, because buddies trips and inter team, it's not the same. These guys, a lot of the Europeans are going to be coming off of fresh competition. So,
they jump right in over at the DP and all that. They keep going.
Well, and a lot of our guys are qualified or can go and play in those events too. So maybe that's all we'll see is some of these guys trying to play in some more of those. But anyway, I think this Ryder Cup at the end of the season, and being based out of New York City, that would have been kind of a cool thing. And I think your point is valid. Whether it's a promo or something, we're going to see TGL and the Ryder Cup hand in hand easily.
It's too easy because they play similar style with already playing alternate shot and match play and all that. So like they play part of it. So it just all makes way too much sense not to do it. I think another kind of factor of the TGL that I was thinking of tonight that kind of keeps eyes coming onto it compared to like something like Live, which we already talked about. This isn't a Live take, but
we can talk. We can always make room to shit on Live
because of the way it's set up in the crowd and how close everyone is, and really the smaller crowd that's there. We are constantly seeing celebrities in the crowd. Like they are cutting to them all the time, but because the celebrities keep coming, it's easy to just cut to them in between these shots. It makes sense, but casual passerbys flipping through the channels when they see this on ESPN and like a celebrity, a recognizable face to them that's a non-golfer in the crowd being shown, if they happen to catch it there, that's probably going to keep them there for an extra minute or two. And then who knows, if they like that, something else will keep them for another minute or two. And those are the small little things that I think do make the difference because they're able to tie in pop culture figures, not just golfing figures. Like no casual fan gives a shit that a tour like the Live has some of the guys who were top 10 players in the world.
Shots fired. Are you saying that Bryson DeChambeau is not a top 10 player right now?
No, I think Bryson is still. I think
him and Brooks might be the exceptions.
Right, I agree.
Well, of course, DJ Khaled in the stands. That's what keeps your eyes. We the best.
Yeah, just keep the mic away from him, please.
We the best. All right, so where are we going from here in the PGA Tour schedule? We talked about it earlier this week. We are in the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines, a familiar location, a traditional tournament. Next week, AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Cutter, if you're out there, holler at your boy. Cutter the caddy, if you don't know, he's got a great book, great stories, great Pebble Beach, legend, local legend.
And probably that is our legend in South Africa nowadays too. After his trip, I'm sure he did stuff there that's remembered by the people.
I wonder if he's welcome back. Pebble Beach Pro-Am being a signature event. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it just because of the fact that it's a Pro-Am and it's just different. I feel like it's already got its thing. I think we talked about this last year, but I feel like it's already got its special draw. Like that's making it what's an elevated event. Just I don't know. It seems like a waste of one to me.
I agree. I don't think it needs. It's kind of like they wasted the. It doesn't need the status label on that versus the Phoenix Open. I think the Phoenix Open all being at one course. To me, that's where it belongs. Sorry, I got sidetracked for a second on the Pebble Beach. That's where it belongs. Yeah, for different reasons though. That's where it belongs is right there with the people in the People's Open. But then again, because you look at those purse differences, 20 million to 9 million. So how much longer is the Phoenix Open going to keep drawing? This is where the money does come into play. I mean, how much longer is Scotty and those guys? How are they going to look at the Phoenix Open when they would much rather go win at Tiger's Place the following week? But I guess they also have a minimum amount they have to play.
That's the thing to take into account here too. Is that say we did flip it. Say Pebble goes back to just a normal, and Phoenix Open gets the
same argument. Nod. Yeah, I guess you want your tour stars at Pebble.
Well, yeah, but now we're going back-to-back signature events between the Open and the Genesis, which I think they're trying to avoid going back-to-back weeks with that. because of the requirement they are putting on guys to be at like a certain amount of them. I think that's something they're trying to do, and I think they would have to ultimately make a schedule change for at a time of the year that people are used to these tournaments being on in a specific order, if that makes sense.
I think people would just scream bloody fucking murder if they claim that Pebble Beach isn't one of the signature events of the season. Although I do,
Pebble, just seeing the title Pebble Beach mixed in there, in my eyes, makes it feel like a signature event. Like I don't. That's all I'm saying. Like the money doesn't affect us. Well, hello there. Hi.
I think it freaked her out.
Oh yeah, she heard me laugh right as you put it on. It's probably creepy.
Anyway.
Yeah. So it really, the money's
back to the PGA. Back to the PGA Tour schedule and our in-depth stumbling through these events.
So let's get Phoenix Open then. Let's jump forward there because like we already said, Pebble Beach coming up, Farmers Insurance this week. I should have looked it up before we get on, but I completely forgot to. I'm sure there's massive rule changes coming when it comes to the crowd after the debacle we had last year with the tickets and the overcrowding and the people. I'd be curious to see what is different. I don't think we're going to notice anything different as far as like the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere is still going to be what it is. But I'm also curious to hear about the stories from people who were there, like how the security experience, all of that experience has changed. Just because I think we were towing the line last year with this tournament that was crossing it over into something that the PGA does not want to happen.
So the updated 2025 alcohol policy for the waste management, I think that's where we're getting this from. Open. Hold on. We got to check our sources here. We don't just ask Jeeves and then run to it.
Oh,
yeah, Jeeves. This is from there's the throwback.
I love it.
From the WM Phoenix Open site, their 2025 alcohol policy. Alcohol cannot be brought onto or taken from the tournament grounds. Okay. Fans under 30 must show a valid ID to purchase alcohol. Okay.
Yep.
Alcohol will not be served to intoxicated guests.
Okay. Well,
we'll see.
Yeah.
And there will be a 2-drink limit per We weren't doing this before. We were allowing.
I'm kind of surprised.
We were allowing people just to load up. Like,
I'm kind of surprised. You can go to any sporting event these days. It's a 2-drink limit.
Fenway's been a stickler like that for a long time.
That's all right. I mean, for a lot of them, 2 drinks equals 4 anyways these days. So they're at least giving you 25-ounce cups. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what the stories come out and how it's looking, because I do think the atmosphere will still be there. But do I want to see people passing out in the mud and sliding down the hill like we did last year? Like I'd rather not see that happening. I'd rather just see the liveliness, but held in check.
I mean, how often do you also get the schedule messed up by like the way it was to where we had these rounds overlapping? But they are talking about expanded walkways, redesigned general admissions. It sounds to me like they were still probably running some old school operations with physical tickets involved. I mean, at the U.S. Open last year, at both majors I went to, like physical tickets wasn't even a possibility. It was, which I can just feel some people being like, well, what if you don't have a cell phone?
If you don't have a cell phone these days, I mean,
they
print it off at home, I guess. I don't know.
I think they did have they probably do have exceptions for that. They have to probably legally, but it's almost like they strongly it wasn't even. It's not really even an option. The way they're stating it here, tickets will not be sold by third-party vendors. That's another big deal.
Oh, okay.
To try to control everything, and that's where they say that's all of a sudden, here, download the app. That's the only way you're getting in our door. And then, well, what if I don't want to? Then you don't come.
You don't come. Hey, that's the beauty of holding a private event. You can make those rules. Quick update here. They are on the final hole of the TGL. Atlanta Drive is going to win. They're up 4-0. There is mathematically impossible for New York to come back. They at least started. New York at least tied a few holes here to not let it get to be a rout like we've seen in the past 2 weeks. So from a strictly number standpoint, the fact that it's only 4-0 looks better for the TGL.
Yeah, I was going to say at least this has the appearance of a match.
Yeah, it wasn't if you watch the whole thing, but the number will at least look better. So I guess little victories, right?
Little victories. All right. Genesis coming on the heels of the Phoenix Open. Again, back at Torrey, I think right call. And then we have a little bit of a lull. I think we go back-to-back weeks with the Mexico Open at Vidanta World and then the Cognizant Classic in the Palm Beaches. And then it picks back up in March, early March. Arnold, the Arnie Palmer, the Puerto Rico Open. Then we got the Players, the Valspar, that traditional swing Valspar, and then over to Texas for a couple of weeks before the Masters. RBC Heritage right after the Masters, another signature event. I like that. I like that they're keeping that. And I love, and I like what John Rahm said a couple of years ago. He's like, of course I'm not going to skip, because some kid out there is going to go, like, has been waiting all year to see the Masters champion at this tournament. And just because I had a rough week, I'm not going to. And I love that mentality that they get it. This is, this is a big product, and those big checks that they're cashing are built upon those little kids waiting in line, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, 100%.
Right after, I'm getting used to this new microphone. RBC Heritage. Then we got the Corrales Punta Cana, and then Zurich at the end of April. Once again, the team play. Rory and Shane winning it last year, and I think you're going to see them again. Rory flat out said going to Zurich and then also being a part of this has made him really appreciate how much fun the game can be in that atmosphere. I think because of their the PGA Tour's kind of partnership and almost investment in this TGL, you're definitely, I think it's going to be one of those, they're going to really lean into it almost. These guys might partner up with their teammates as opposed to just somebody. So I think it'll be fun to watch those pairings. After that, back out to Texas for the CJ, the CJ Cup, the Byron Nelson. And then the Truist Championship. The Truist. What the hell?
That's a new name, huh? That wasn't that last year, is it?
This used to be the Quail Hollow.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Now it's at the Philadelphia Cricket Club.
The Truist Championship, formerly known the Wells Fargo at Quail Hollow, is now the Truist.
It's a signature event. What is this a signature event?
It is, but it's at the Philadelphia Cricket Club this year because Quail Hollow is hosting the PGA.
Right. Okay. So it will go back then. Okay.
Yeah, because they go Truist for the Truist. The title change is just the title change and location change being the same year. Sheer coincidence.
Right.
So the title change was coming anyways.
Feels wild.
Myrtle Beach again. I think the Myrtle Beach with the content, thing.
Yeah, that's going to be something that people.
You're going to see that again this year. You're definitely going to see that again this year. Yeah. And then the PGA at Quail Hollow, back in North Carolina.
I love that.
I love that too. I think they need to really, really, really. Last year that was an embarrassment. I loved it. It was a fun PGA to go to. The whole Scotty Scheffler story and the jail thing. It was a pretty cool event. But a 20, 25, 30 under PGA, major. I think we can stomach it when we're over in overseas. You see that at some of these Open Championships. If the weather is just for all 4 days, then these courses really can't.
The ball's going to run out like freaking an extra 100 yards.
Right. I mean, the old course at St. Andrews, if it's pristine conditions, it's pitch and putt for those guys, but it's not always. And it's, you can bank on some weather. So the PGA's got their work cut out for them. They can do it. They've done it before, but we'll see how hard, because I would like to see them make it painfully hard. Like, I think coming on the heels of what happened last year. Yeah. We want a bloodbath. We want, +2 to be a good looking score going into the weekend, that kind of shit. So after the mid-May major, then we got the Charles Schwab, then the Memorial back at Jack's Place, followed by the RBC Canadian. Last year won by, not last year, 2 years ago, won by a Canadian. Last year won by Robert McIntyre, which I loved.
Yeah, it was Nick Taylor the year before.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Which I did love. I think this person was trolling, but after Nick Taylor won a couple weeks ago, and then they posted on Twitter, this is why I want Nick Taylor on the U.S. Ryder Cup team this year. Now I have to assume they were like
it's a wink nod to the geopolitical.
But it was a good joke though. It was a good joke. I loved it.
Very fucking funny. I think it's a hilarious joke. then the U.S. Open at where are we? RBC
Yeah,
Canadian.
U.S. Open.
I just like
Oakmont.
that. Yeah, then the U.S. Open at Oakmont. Oakmont traditional church pews. Let's get after it. I think the return to Pinehurst every couple of years is going to be cool. And I'm serious, man. It hooked me something fierce. I've been to professional golf tournaments, been to some places, but Pinehurst was meant to host that specific event.
Right.
And I think in a way that some of these other classic venues, they're private clubs on the side. The fact that Pinehurst is this big resort in the middle of a golf town versus these one-offs like Oakmont or a Shinnecock. I just like saying Shinnecock. I think sets it apart, and it's why it's one of the anchor spots. But Oakmont is always going to be a test. Travelers, and then we're on a downhill slide. We got the Rocket Mortgage, the John Deere, your last chance to get into the Open Championship, which is why we no longer shit on it.
That's why it's important.
The Genesis Scottish Open, which has also gotten a resurgence in recent years with guys like Rory taking it seriously, and it, being on the heels of one of the last chances for people to get their way into the Open Championship.
Well, it's starting to feel like one that the Europeans specifically are trying to lock down as
it's a national championship.
European needs to win this kind of thing.
Yeah, the way we're leaning into the Canadian Open over here in the States, even when Rory wins the Genesis, it's kind of a big deal. One of not necessarily their guys, but one of their guys in the golf game won it. So you want it closer to home. Open Championship in mid-July, and then we don't really. We got 3 weeks: the Barracuda, the 3M, the Wyndham, FedEx St. Jude. So we have the playoffs.
Yeah, that's just the playoffs. Yeah.
All right. Quick question for you, mate. What major are you looking forward to most this year? Because I think we all agree the Ryder Cup's off the board. I think that's the event of the golf year.
It is, yeah.
Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black. Let's just stop it. But what major and for what reason are you looking forward to most this year?
I mean, I'm not going to say the Masters just because it's the easy answer. It's just, but that's for just reasons of it's like the kickoff to the season. Really, that's. I'm looking forward to Oakmont. I'm looking forward to the U.S. Open at Oakmont. I want to see. I want to see some of the stories there with Bryson defending. I want to see all that. Like you said, you mentioned the church pews. It's one of those unique looking courses that is just traditional and beautiful. And I'm looking forward to the U.S. Open at Oakmont. I'd say out of all of them.
It used to be my answer. Used to be my least favorite major, and I'm not saying it's my favorite all of a sudden. But for this year and this year only, for the reasons that I stated earlier, mine's the PGA at Quail Hollow. I think that I'm trying to. So we've seen Justin Thomas win there. Sorry, Justin Thomas won there, but also the Rory McIlroy, the major winless streak. I think that's my storyline for the year. I mean, there's gonna be, as far as like the established golfers are concerned, there's plenty of other sub storylines about live guys coming back or not coming back and who's positioning themselves and yada yada yada. Definitely, with Blades Brown or even Nick Dunlap now, not that he's full time. Akshay Bhatia, he was just on the outside of the President's Cup. Can he get into that Ryder Cup position? There's so many cool little storylines like that. But as far as the majors are concerned, I would have loved to, like you said, the Masters. I want to see the Masters just to see if Scotty can do it again. And all of a sudden, does he have some? Well, Jack cracked the code, Yeah. And so I think that's where almost the Masters like, does Scotty get this fucking thing figured out over here? Or was he just in his Scotty world? But for me, the major that I'm going to be most interested in seeing overall is going to be the PGA to see, can they bounce back and say like, hey, we are a major. Because you get another shitty showing, you get another 30 under or 25 under or 20, even 20 under, even like, I think even anything
that's going to be under 15.
I think you want to keep it to single digits if you can. Under 15 is acceptable. I agree. Single digits is preferred. But anything else, and I could even see people saying like, how important is this as a major versus something like the Players Championship, who we even have elevated to $25 million. It's not even a signature event. It's just its own thing.
It's its own little thing over there.
And I think the only reason that'll never supplant the PGA is because the PGA's openness with accessibility and the club pros that come into it and the way that they'll hand out special exemptions to whoever the hell they want. I think it reminds everybody that as long as we've got your attention, but if they screw it up this year, that's just too big of a opportunity missed. You've got a course like Quail Hollow that you can make tough, you can make major worthy. So seeing who performs there too. Does JT come back, and is this where he kind of returns? He's on his way back. Remember, he was on the outside of the playoffs looking in, and then last year his performance, and now he's so close. I think that might be where he peaks again as a reminder. Or again, Rory, does he finally get off the schneid there, because he has played well at Quail Hollow in years past for the Wells Fargo, but not for a major. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to now. Just kind of like overall, what are some of the bigger questions you're looking forward to answering, or stories you're looking forward to following going into this season?
Well, you mentioned one, Rory getting back to the winner's circle is definitely something that I'm on the watch for. Jordan Spieth, if we can see him make a resurgence too. We saw glimpses of it, and then we saw it disappear again. Like, I want to see if he can put together that full season. I'm also, anxiously waiting to hear the date that Full Swing Season 3 comes out, because they said they're doing it, but we haven't gotten an actual release date. So I'm assuming they're in like the editing stages of that. So that's something that's on my radar too, just because I think that introduces us to a whole nother side of very specific golfers for the season, and it sets up a ton of different storylines that hook people in. So I think that's just something that we continue to need right now in the world of golf. So I'm looking forward to that. I consider that as part of the golf season at this point.
Well, how much time we got left here? We got a couple minutes.
Yeah, we got like 5 minutes.
All right. Well, not going to take all 5, but I would be remiss. We would be remiss if we did not go through real quick the 2025 Live lineup, because there's only like 20 golfers anyway, so it doesn't take that long.
Oh, the players, yeah.
We got the 4 aces with Dustin Johnson, Thomas Pieters, tall motherfucker, Patrick Reed, and Harold Varner III. I don't think that's the same as last year, but we're not going to pay attention close enough to tell you the changes. The Cleeks Golf Club, which, if you don't know what a clique is, it's an old ancient timey golf club. Martin Keimer, Richard Bland, Frederick Ketterup, and Adrian Marunk. Okay. Crushers, right, cool. Bryson DeChambeau's Crushers. We got Bryson, Paul Casey, Charles Howell III, and Anirban Lahiri. I'm a big fan of his. Fireballs Golf Club. There's been some movement here apparently. Sergio Garcia, Abraham Answer, which I think you were the one who said Answer was going to go over there. Luis Maswebu. Don't know who the hell Luis Maswebu. I'm just going to call him Luis Eyebrows. Luis Eyebrows. Louis. And David Puig or Pooch.
Puig. Yeah.
High Flyers Golf Club, which these guys look like they want to sell me insurance. Actually, no, they look like they want to change the oil on my luxury SUV. Phil Mickelson, Andy Ogletree, Brendan Steele, and Cameron Tringale. Ironheads Golf Club, Kevin Na, Yubin Jang, Chinichira Kazuma, and Danny Lee. Legion 13. And
oh God! Wait! What is that name new, or did they create that name when Ron went over there?
It's his team. Could get it. They were the 13th team.
I just don't remember the Legion 13 name, but so that's
Legion 13 because he's such a gladiator. They only have 3 players on Legion 13 right now. They're looking to fill the third, but John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, and Caleb Surratt, which I kind of like that team.
Yeah, I like.
the Majestics have got Henrik Stenson, Sam Horsfield, Ian Poulter, and Lee Westwood coming back. Range Goats. Bubba Watson. No, you didn't hear me wrong. He did finish dead ass last and get relegated, but because business is business, he's playing again. This is why I'm saying it's a fucking joke, man.
It's a joke. Yeah,
they can no longer claim that they're a competitive professional golf league in that kind of sense when they're just doling out this kind of crap. And hey, we need a spot. You want to? Okay, fine, Bubba. Yeah, come on in. You're in again. I guarantee you he doesn't want to be playing either. He's a team owner. Bubba Watson.
Picture makes it look like he does not want to, by the way.
No, he does not want to be there. Bubba, and he's holding a fart. Bubba Watson, Ben Campbell, Peter Uline, and Matty Wolf. Yeah. And then Ripper Golf Club. Cam. Actually, I kind of like those hoodies. Cam Smith, Lucas Herbert, Matt Jones, and Mark Leishman. All Aussies. All Aussies.
Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, which also we like to be cheeky over here about this whole live product and thing, but who knows? Maybe there's markets elsewhere. This thing
Yeah.
has legs and it lives on.
They
It's
found
not.
success in Australia, so I mean,
If anything, though, the PGA Tour has said, just not in my backyard, partner.
right. And something's interesting that I'm just looking at is like Cameron Smith. I think completely misplayed his hand at the peak of his kind of popularity and relevancy of the PGA, and then he's no one really thinks about Cameron Smith at all anymore.
Yeah, maybe he did, maybe he didn't know. 125 million or 150 million again.
He didn't misplay that hand. That was a well played hand.
Smash Golf Club, Brooks Koepka, Taylor Gooch, Jason Kokrak, and Graham McDowell. Stinger Golf Club, Louis Oosthuizen, Dean Burmester, Brendan Grace, and Charles Schwartzel, all South Africans. Torque Golf Club, Joaquin Neiman, Sebastian Munoz, Carlos Ortiz, and Mito Pereira. And then our wild card players, Hudson Swafford was not welcome back, or I don't know if he quit or went, but I just know he's not back.
Yeah. Anthony
Kim and Max Lee. Great. Max Lee, I think, is the guy who finished top of the Asian Tour and gets that invite. Sweet. Yeah, there you go.
It looks like that's. I'm assuming that's what the TWN means.
Fucking excited. All right, land the plane. We'll be back. We'll be back next week with some in-depth analysis of actually Boston Common Golf. Go Frogs! They tee things up. What is the TGL golf upcoming schedule?
I will say though, like that's something that I am like nothing against the team that they ended up putting out there, but I do wish we were still having Tyrrell Hatton in the TGL.
Oh,
he just would have been, and to have him on with Rory and Keegan for Boston Golf. That I was looking forward to that when we first got that news. So that one we'll see it, but I'm still cheering him on. Boston Frogs. Let's go.
Well, good. Listen, start it right now. Next week, you got a Boston Common Golf Go fucking Frogs back to back Monday, Tuesday, Monday 6:30 p.m. against Tiger and the Jupiter Golf Club, and then we're your lead into their 9:00 tee time on Tuesday against LA Golf Club. Let's go.
They're playing back to back days.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Let's play two, dude.
Okay. I love it. Let's land this plane, something that we're still hoping Liv figures out how to do and gets the hell off this earth. We will talk to you later. We'll see you next week, every Tuesday here at 8 o'clock on TSPN. We love you. And as always, stay classy, all you fine people.